Hello, my name is Shaw. I am one of the creators of the agent node system on the Thoth codebase, and I will be going through some basic setup and a couple of practical demonstrations of getting started. This is using the Super Reality fork of Thoth, but hopefully by the time this goes out, it will be fairly main branch and not much will change. So here we go. Let's get into it. First off, this is a Thoth spell. This is one of the most complex Thoth spells. A lot of it could probably be consolidated as we develop, but it can give you an idea of where we can go. We have things like memory, recall, string matching to handle if somebody says something that we know is like a greeting or is definitely a control to play the video or something. We also have classification. We have completions through OpenAI GPT-3, and then a bunch of different, special collections of prompts and nodes to help us move information around. So first things first, I have here a version of Thoth that is not running. I will get it to run, but first I want to make sure that I check a couple of things. So in my client, I have a .env. This .env has some secrets in it, but not really any super secrets. The main things you need to know are, for now, the React app use Latitude. If you do not have a Latitude API key or subscription, you can turn this to false, and that way you will not be presented with a login window, and you can just sort of develop, but you also won't have access to a lot of the Latitude nodes and services. The other one that we have in here is React app use agents. So if you want to use our agent tech, then it will be here. That way we can kind of pull our stuff back into the Thoth main branch, and that won't upset the current development with our experimental agent tech. Outside the client, we also need to go into the server. Same thing, we're going to change use Latitude API. If you're developing, in this case, without a Latitude subscription, use Latitude API to false. And then the other important one, well, most of these are already defaulted, but you will need to make sure that you have an OpenAI API key and a Hugging Face API key there for you. And those are the two critical ones. The rest of it probably doesn't need to change too much. I think that there probably is it's just the use Latitude at the top. So once you have those two environments, .env set up, you should be good to run the installation, assuming you've cloned it and installed dependencies. So to set it up, we just do npm run dev. That will run everything. That's the client, the server, a core watcher. We're also running things like the agents are run on a separate process. So everything can kind of be decoupled and decentralized. So that looks like it's running. I will go over now to our agent window, and we're going to make a new spell. So we'll make a new spell, and we will call it example spell, and we'll say starter, and we'll create that. And now the spell is essentially blank, but you will see that we have two really important things. We have input and output, as well as a trigger. So the first thing we want to do is we want to just play test input and output, and make sure that input goes into output and something happens in the middle. The simplest way to do this is going to be to go to, you can right click and go to nodes, or you can add node. I like the right click because they're organized, and you can go to utility, echo. And I will take that echo and I will plug it in here. And now I could plug it into this trigger, that would be obvious, but it actually won't necessarily work down here. I mean, I will wire it up, but I actually need to go to my input and toggle playtest, which will enable a playtest trigger, and then I can connect that playtest trigger here, and that will allow me to actually playtest. And there's one more thing I have to do. I have to go back to the output, and I have to enable playtest here. Another thing that I like to do is name my output. I found that sometimes, at least in certain versions, I was having kind of no response, and that's because it wasn't sure what the output name was. And it looks like Thoth refreshed in the background, and I lost my changes. So When you're developing, make sure you save early and often. We have disabled rigorous auto-saving while we develop because Thoth spells only get too big, take too long to process. I think we'll be adding that back as we've kind of figured out what the problems are. But just make sure that you go to File, Save often. So we'll save. I will go back here and grab the echo node, toggle the playtest, name it to output, drag the output to string, trigger to trigger, and I'll put this trigger, even though it won't do anything in our playtest, it's important for the rest of our stuff to work. And same thing, I'm going to add a trigger out to the end as well. So then I wire this up. Trigger, 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 file, save. Now as of writing, there is a bug where when I go down to the playtest and I say hello, it doesn't do anything the first time. And that's because there's a race condition where it's not processing the graph until it's already said hello. So we're going to try that one more time. Hello. And you can see now that, well, we have to fix that problem, but generally as long as you type in twice into the playtest, you will get the most recent version of the graph. You can see that it played through the input, it then hit the echo, the output, and then trigger out. And the green indicates that the node was actually activated. And eventually we'll show the order of activation, but you can see right now that it's pretty obvious. So I'm going to save that. And what's going on? So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, that's a basic echo. Now, if you wanted to do something a little bit more involved, you probably want to do like some sort of AI thing, right? So we're going to use the text completion. Let's see, it's probably in agents right now. So there's a few different ways to do completions. One of the completions that we have, we're probably going to refactor this into being part of the let's see, well, there's a hugging face, and I think there's another one that's just for generating completions. We'll figure that out. Yeah, that's the next thing. So anyway, we're going to use this node for now, and we're going to drop the playtest trigger, and we'll drop the regular trigger here, and the output into text, and same thing, wire this up. Now, this agent text completion takes some settings. DaVinci, temperature 0.8. I just happen to know this. 100, top P 1.0, frequency penalty 0, presence 0. And we can leave the stop, the default stop, which is a new line response. So we will save, and then we will say testing. And that didn't do anything because we have to reload the graph. And now we say hello. And now this hello should go through and actually try and trigger a response. But I'm not sure. Hopefully. Hello. You can see it went green here, it went green here. It's stuck here. That means it's actually going out and attempting to make the completion. Now it's possible the completion threw an error. It looks like it did. So I'll have to go and figure out why that is. Interesting, right? But outside of that, that's usually how it works. So we're going to delete this, and we're going to put our echo back. And I will wire up the echo. So, cool, great. Very interesting. And file, save this. And you can see it's working again. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create an entity that actually uses this for something. Here I have entities. I have a couple already created. I will create a new one. So I go to create new. I'm going to enable the entity. This agent template is going to get refactored out, so don't worry about it. It will, you know, we're working on what this actually means, but it will be something like connected to our graph selection. Now, right now we have Discord and XR Engine, and we're about to have Twitter in here. So if you enable Discord, you will see that it asks you for the API key. Okay, well, I will just get it from one of the other agents. See, I have a Discord API key right here. Then I'll go down and I will, I'll paste there. So starting words are words that are going to wake the bot up. Some of those would include hi, hey, hello, what's up? And then the Discord bot name regex, this is actually going to get removed. So you don't have to worry about this, but typically this would be like, some weird like thing like that. And the idea there is that you want to remove any kind of weird references to the bot, because this will come through as text, and we'll want to replace that with his name, which is Philip. And then we also have a list of empty responses. So that would be like, I had an error is a totally good one, or generic empty response. And we can also, give a whole list with commas, and those would each be responses. Like, what the fuck, dude? Whatever you want to say. And so if for some reason the response comes out empty, the thing doesn't complete, there's an error, it will give one of these responses. The spell handlers are, so right now interval update and event feed are not being handled, but this will be coming in soon. Essentially these are like, what is the actual graph, the actual spell, and these are called spells in here, that gets called whenever an incoming message comes in. So right now you can see facts, but we could change this to like example spell, because that's the name of our example spell. And then we're using, we'll be using this spell to handle incoming updates, incoming messages, feeds, whatever. But we can also use different spells, for example. So, and then once we're happy with that, we can press update. Another thing we can do is we can enable XR engine. And same thing, we can say like, okay, go to nexus.city location/portal. And same deal, we can do all this. The bot will actually show up in this room and walk around this space. So I would then press update and deploy that, and then I would have a bot that I could actually talk to. So in terms of actually talking to a bot, well, I already have a couple of bots online. So maybe instead of, well, I don't know, maybe they're not online right now. Probably got to work on figuring some of that stuff out. So generally though, if you look, you will see that we have, once the bot has been brought online, we can invite the bot places. So the way that we invite, well, we need to invite the bot to a server, right? That's like kind of the crucial thing, to talk to the bot. So now, let's see, if I go to my other window, I have a Discord bot test server. You can see we're testing a few of our different bots, and basically what's going on here is that we invite the bot to a channel, and then we can talk to it, and it's going to send back and forth something like this echo. So there's a couple of steps we need to do. If you want to know how do I actually get my Discord developer key, you would go into your applications. You can see that you have an application ID right here. So first thing you do is you go to bot and you enable the privileges. Like you need these privilege intents. You don't need the code grant, but you do need to be a public bot with these intents. Once you have that, you're going to go here to general information. And you're going to copy your application ID. And then so then there's a library we use called discord.js. And we want to add the bot to our server. I always forget the URL, so I just know that it's in this Discord.js guide, adding your bot to servers. And it's this link right here. And you can see it's a Discord link to authorize with OAuth this client ID with these permissions. So we're going to paste that up here really quick, and then we're going to replace the client ID, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with our own from our bot that we just got from here, this application ID. And now we have this link. When we go to it, it will actually ask us, do you want to invite Testbot to a server? And you can see I have many servers I could invite Testbot to. Maybe I will say, okay, we'll come to the Discord bot test server. Awesome. And then if I actually go and, well, cool, great, right? Well, let's see. If I wanted this bot to actually show up, because before I was not using it, I can reset the token here. I think that we're using this bot, so I don't want to do that. I'll rename this one. I'll say testbot2, right? And we'll go to our bot, and we'll say You need some intents. And great. Testbot 2. I'm going to reset your token because, well, like, okay, give me a second to do the 2FA. So I just want to get a real token and show you guys what happens when you actually connect. There we go, 2FA code. I'm going to copy that code. And then when I go into Thoth here with my new agent, I'm going to paste in, well, let's see, I just want to see, we need to do the UI better for this. There we go, you can see, I'll put this Discord API key, I'll put Testbot, just so kind of know, Testbot 2. You can see example spell, and this API key is legit, so I should just be able to go and update. And that should deploy the bot in the server background. The bot will say, oh, hey, I've seen that something new and interesting is going on. You have updated and added a new bot. I will do something with that bot. You can see here. Now it's not working because there was an update that came in that did not update my database. And so if you have an error like this, well, there's a couple of things. So basically, this is what happened is I cloned the repo, or I pulled the latest changes from the repo, and one of our other engineers had added something to the database, and I don't have that in my database, so now it's throwing an error. So there's a couple of ways that we can handle that. One of the ways is that we go and shut down everything. We Docker down the database, and then we reset it. And that's a good way to do it. So what you would do is you would go to server and you go sudo docker down. Docker compose down. And that is going to tell Docker Compose tear down all of your database and all your Docker containers, because our database is in a Docker container. And then you would run npm run db seed right here, which will call the seeder and repopulate the database with some new stuff. You'd have to make sure that you're like running the database before you do that. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to use another tool called Tables Plus, since I know I've been working on this, that just one of the values in the database probably needs to be added. And it's this Discord empty responses of relation agent instance. I'm just going to do it manually. So this is the actual database for Thoth. We are still working on consolidating a few things. The main things you need to know are the chains are all of the latest runnable spells. So these are the latest versions of each of your spells. Then we have deployed spells. Let me see. Oops. Let me go back to it. And deployed spells are like individual versions of spells. So if you don't want to get the latest spell, which would be like this is both the root spell as well as the default spell. It's called like a chain, right? Or the latest spell, I mean. Then it goes to the deployed spells and it'll grab a specific version of your deployment. And you can see that like this is version 103 because I've been working on this one bot for so long. There's even higher versions of that bot, like 125. And what's cool is then you can actually go into Thoth. And when you go to deploy, I'll deploy this one, why not? You can see the different versions and you can load them. So this is kind of like a version control. And you can make notes for each version. So you could say deploy new, and this one has breaking changes. I don't, whatever. And then I could know, okay, cool, well, this one has breaking changes, so I probably want to go back to this one before I did something, whatever. And that gets kind of related into this database. For agents, the things that we have are, we have agents themselves, which is probably going to get removed, so don't worry about that. But we have this agent instances table. And so this is actually a list of our agents who are running. So we have, well, let's see. You can see that we tried to make a new one here, and then we had some error where it didn't work so well, probably because we were missing one of the fields, one of the columns. So we can just go here and just delete it. And whenever, I guess before we actually add an agent, I'll show you one other really important thing, which is the events. So events can be anything. Like we can have conversation events, we can have current video events. The beauty of events is that they let us store memory, and this kind of acts as a short-term memory for the agent. You can see that every event has a type, but also an agent, a client, a channel, a sender. So you could say, well, I want all the events from the last 20 minutes in this channel from this agent, and that can then serve for like searchable long-term memory. So back to the agent instances. We have 2 running right now. We want to make another one. It's going to fail because we are missing this column. So let's just go to our agent instance, look at our structure. I'll just go down to the bottom and add a column. Is nullable? Yes, 22. And we'll just keep that there. Now we have a Discord empty responses. And if I go here, and I'll just change something, and I press update. Oh, well, it actually, I remember I deleted it, so we'll have to create a new one. That was probably not the best idea. So Discord enabled, and our Discord API key is that one. And hi, hello, bots. I'll just say no, and then we will do the example spell. We really only need to worry about the spell handler up here. These 2 don't matter yet. They will. So that updates, and then we can go check here and say Twitter client enable, also not there. Interesting, huh? Okay. Then we might have to add a few of these, right? Because they don't seem to be in here. Now typically, like, these are actually this stuff is all stored in the model. The model syncs. You don't have to do this kind of manual stuff, but I end up doing it a lot, so it's really good to feel comfortable working with the database while you're developing. So we press update again, update agent set. You can see it didn't throw any errors that time. So the bot should be running, but we can't see it. And the reason we can't see it is because, well, I need to actually invite it. Maybe I did already, but even if I didn't, we'll just do this one more time. Oh, I totally did. But just to go one more time, so if you want to invite the bot to your channel, you are going to go to, let's go to Discord.js. Let's copy this bot invite link. Let's paste our application key ID from here into there, client ID. Let's call the bot Testbot 2, invite to Discord bot test server, beep beep boop, I am a bot. And now it's authorized. And then from there, well, we should see that we have a new bot. And we do. And right now it's called Kayaks Our Habs bot from an old project, but let's just imagine that's Testbot. Bot. Testbot. Save. Bot is successfully saved. And while the bot seems to be kind of running, let me just check this. Well, let's just go and dirty is true. Not really sure what's going on with it. So we're just gonna restart Thoth really quick. What I'm about to work on after this video is making sure that our agents start up and die very completely. So this might be one of the things that I'm going to work on, but I just want to show you like what happens if you get a bot running. Okay, that's all happening. We have this kind of dirty flag, so we can see that if it's true, that means that it was set dirty and one of the agent runners hasn't taken it on yet. So that's indicative that something is going on. Everything is starting up. And where's Thoth? This will probably reset soon. Okay, there we go. We built the Webpack. And still going. Come on, bot. Wake up. I know why. Let me see if I can just run it from here. npm node server source agent runner. Right. I really just need to run the agent runner. npm run agent runner. Right. Let me just comment out the stuff I'm working on right now. Try that again. So the agent runner actually listens for the agents to run separately from the app itself, just because the agents can start handling a lot of throughput, and we want to be able to run 1,000 of them, and that means that they need to be distributed across many different applications. And so what we're working on is kind of an agent ownership model, so that each of the instances can own the agent. It's very interesting. It doesn't seem to be load mod clean exit. Well, I'm gonna go. Well, let's see. I can just fix this quickly, actually. I know for a fact that it comes from not having a world. So this world object constructs the world. Inside of this world, we can have a loop. The loop runs a bunch of agents, and so this is kind of a like a pretty typical game simulation pattern, where the world creates game objects, which are agents who can respond, but also just call updates sort of regularly. Great, you can see that it's failing to enter XR engine because it's not running on my computer right now, but everything else actually seems to be working. Bots are talking, doing a bunch of stuff. So let's see, can I go back to Discord? Ah, great, now you can see all my bots are up. And I can, that Testbot 2, and I can say, hi. And look at that, it responds with IDK. Well, that IDK is a response, essentially, it doesn't have the context to really respond in the way I'd like it to. So we're going to add one more element to make our bot actually work. You see that IDK is actually from our agent. It's an empty response. So that means that whatever's happening here, we are getting an empty response, and that's not so great. And I actually know exactly what the problem is. The problem is that the input coming into this input is not just like text input here. It's actually a destructured agent input. What that mean, or sorry, it's a structured agent input. So we will be having an output with like a like an agent type. See how this is an orange string type? We'll have like an agent type. But for now, we have a destructure node specifically for agents. So if I go into my agents here and I go to input destructure, then I can take that, connect it up, look at that, and now I can take the trigger from there and the output from here, and it's actually getting the output within the output. So the problem was before it was trying to do this echo and it was getting some complex object. The object is not a string. It's not going to really respond or handle it well. Now it gets it just gets the object, it gets the output, and it should respond. And we save it. We can deploy it. It doesn't really matter since we're right now the agent's looking at the latest version, but you can deploy and then have different versions you can test. So then we'll try one more time. And you can see it responds exactly. So this is obviously an echo, but this is kind of the generic. If you were to get a Discord bot working, that's how you would do it, and this would be your like starting like agent sort of template interface. Cool. That's pretty much it.